All right. Can everybody hear me? Sounds good. All right, we're going to get started here. I want to thank you all for attending. Right. So, first off, I want to thank everyone for taking time out of their day to come and be with us. Your presence is greatly appreciated. I intend to make this a very good use of your time. Today we're talking about Indusoft, which in its latest version is called Indusoft Web Studio 2020. Now, Indusoft is a SCADA and HMI development program that we sell as a vendor here at ICPDAS USA. Usually we recommend Indusoft for larger projects, those requiring over 1,000 or so tags, but it is a very versatile program. And once you've purchased a development license, you can get a runtime license with as few as 150 tags and as many as 10 million tags. If some of that terminology isn't making sense, don't worry. We're going to talk about how InduSoft Tags work, what SCADA is, and of course go into more detail about InduSoft in just a second here. But first, let's look at our agenda for today. Excellent. So today we're going to be giving a quick definition of what SCADA is, talk about what Indusoft is, go over the features and benefits of Indusoft Web Studio. I'm going to talk about different Indusoft product tiers, take a look at some Indusoft projects through the live demo available on Indusoft's website, and then we'll round out the discussion with a Q&A session, followed by the announcement of our raffle winners. So if you have a question at some time during my presentation, go ahead and put it in the Q&A box, which you can access through the Zoom toolbar. And we'll get to those at the very end during our Q&A session. I have Steve, one of our engineers, here with us today who can answer any of your more technical questions. So, just feel free to participate in that Q&A session. You can also, if you'd rather talk on mic, you can raise your hand again through the Zoom toolbar, and we'll answer you. So, All right, but before we get into the presentation proper, this is a little bit about us. ICPDAS was founded in 1993 and is located in Hsinchu, Taiwan. ICPDAS USA was founded in 2001 to support the North and South American markets, and we're located in Lomita, California. We have over 200 R&D engineers, and we work closely with them to develop new products and to support our customers. Most of our products are RoHS compliant, meaning they're lead-free. We're also ISO 9001 certified here in the States, SGS certified in the UK, and we're a Windows embedded partner. So let's jump right in. What is SCADA? Well, SCADA is an acronym, but really SCADA stands for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition. SCADA is a control system architecture that comprises computers, networked data communications, and graphical user interfaces, or GUIs, for high-level process supervisory management, while also comprising other peripheral devices like PLCs and discrete proportional integral derivative controllers to interface with process, plant, or machinery. The intention of SCADA is to unify factory control and data acquisition systems while providing a common platform for different kinds of networks. So SCADA is a platform. It's software that unifies your data acquisition and your control systems at the supervisory level. And the idea is to integrate the different kinds of networks you have. So you might have a bunch of legacy serial modules, you might have some newer Ethernet modules, and you might have PLCs, you might have automation controllers, plug computers, and just regular regular PCs or in industrial PCs. And what SCADA does is that it strives to integrate all of those control and data acquisition systems. And Indusoft is a SCADA platform, one that we sell and one that we recommend. So let's get into that. What is Indusoft? Well, Indusoft is a SCADA platform that also provides a robust HMI development environment. It has been around since 1997 and has received continuous upgrades and support since then. The latest version is called Indusoft Web Studio 2020. Indusoft Web Studio provides a completely customizable HTML5 interface that you can develop once and then deploy at the supervisory and/or production control level as many times as you need. Indusoft acts as a coordinator between different networks It offers 250 native drivers for every major manufacturer of PLCs and controllers. Like any SCADA platform, Indusoft allows you to automate industrial processes at the supervisory level by integrating controllers and PLCs with your data acquisition system, allowing distributed controllers to respond to sensor feedback. It also provides a database management tool that communicates with your database or data server. Indusoft is expandable. The same system can be deployed at one site or across multiple sites across different geographical areas and can accommodate up to 10 million tags. So let's look a little bit at how Indusoft is structured as a product, and it's divided into licensing tiers. When you purchase Indusoft, you're not purchasing a single product. You have the ability to choose the product that fits your immediate needs. So the two most basic categories of an Indusoft license are development and runtime licenses. You can use the development license to design your control system and its functions, as well as what your HMI control interfaces it allows you to design your HMI control interface as well, and then you deploy your Indusoft projects to the control system. Now, you can purchase these separately or packaged together. The price for each is based on the number of tags you need. So if you purchase a development license, you get access to the Indusoft development environment where you can develop your own projects and customize your HMIs. You deploy these projects onto a runtime server, which will be the heart of your control system. Now, there are different runtime editions of Indusoft, which vary according to what you need. The full runtime license can be deployed on a Windows server, Windows PC running 7, 8, or 10 OSs, or Windows Embedded Standard versions 7 and 8. There are also runtime options called Embedded View, CE View, and IoT View. These come at a lower price point with fewer features and are deployable on Windows Embedded Standard, Windows CE, and Linux operating systems, respectively. Now, on the layer just below, or along with the runtime server, or your runtime clients, we have thin clients. And so, having talked about development and runtime licenses, thin clients allow users to interact with the graphical interface of applications from stations where the runtime components do not need to be installed or stored. So in basic terms, thin clients are like a screen share that you can use to access the runtime GUI. And these are used in situations where you might need remote access to data and control functions, or where you need multiple stations for your operators, like in a control room or with a very large machine. You can use them where you need different monitors to show different screens from the same project, or for use with and-on displays. Thin clients come in 3 different types: Web Thin clients, Secure Viewer, and Studio Mobile Access. Web Thin clients are viewed through Internet Explorer and are for remote users who need occasional access to information from the project. Studio Mobile Access is for similar users who only need occasional access to the project, but this is an HTML5 based client that works with any browser. And then there are Secure Viewer clients, which run off an executable file, and these provide multiple control stations as in a control room or a large machine. So I need to do a quick update to this. This graphic that I have is actually a little bit out of date. As of the very latest version of Indusoft, which has just rolled out, Indusoft Web Studio 2020, all of them are HTML5 based and browser independent. So they're basically just 3 different versions of a very similar client, except for the Secure Viewer, which is still based on an executable, but it's all still HTML5 based. So just a quick update there. All right. So we've talked about the different licenses and thin clients, and I've mentioned tags a couple of times, and I assume that many of you are familiar with with what tag means in this instance, but in case you're not, I'd like to get into the details a little bit. So tags are a core component of any Indusoft Web Studio HMI project. Simply put, tags are variables used to receive and store data obtained from communication with plant floor devices, from the results of calculations and functions, and from user input. In turn, tags can be used to display information on screens, which are your HTML5 web pages, to manipulate screen objects, and to control runtime tasks. But tags are more than just variables. Indusoft Web Studio includes a real-time database manager that provides a number of sophisticated functions such as timestamping of any value change, checking tag values against runtime minimum and maximum values, comparing tag values to alarming limits, and so on. A tag in Indusoft Web Studio has both a value and various properties that can be accessed, some at development and others only at runtime. And your Indusoft tags come in these three types. Project tags, and these are the ones that you're going to be dealing with the most. These are tags based on an individual Indusoft project. Indusoft project is sort of the most basic, or not the most basic, but the application that you'll be dealing with the most when you are designing an Indusoft control system or when you're designing your HMI layout. And Indusoft project is basically the container that all of those things go into. So project tags are tags that you create during your development. Places where project tags are used are screen tags, and we're going to talk about screens in just a second here, because it means in Indusoft something slightly different than what you might think. Tags that read and write to and from field equipment, so those would be your I/O tags for your data acquisition system. Control tags, which are what they sound like for your control functions, and auxiliary tags used to perform mathematical calculations. So those are taking data that you've received from your I/O modules and then doing mathematical calculation to it on the runtime deployment of your Indusoft project. So shared database tags, these are different from project tags, are created in a PC-based control program and then imported into the tags database. So you cannot modify shared tags within Indusoft Web Studio. You have to modify them in the original PC-based control program and then re-import them into the tags database. So the shared database tags are going to be your global tags that you don't want to change inside of an individual project, because one system or one plant, one operation may have many different Indusoft projects inside of it. Probably will have many different Indusoft projects inside of it. So there are some tags that you just don't want changing within each of those projects. Finally, system tags are predefined tags with predetermined functions that are used for supervisory tasks. So date tags hold the current date in a string format. Time tags hold the current time in a string format, and those are usually read-only tags like that. So hopefully that gives you not only an idea of what tags are in the terms of Indusoft, but also a little bit of what Indusoft can do based on the kinds of tags. So, speaking of which, now we are going to actually get to look at an example of an Indusoft runtime project. So this is the HTML5 demo, which is available at demo.indusoft.com. And I sent you an email today with all of these resources and a couple more links to these resources. So I thought that was important for you to have. You might want to look at it while we're looking at the project, or you might want to look at it afterwards. So, but let's just get into this demo. Okay. So like I said, this is available through Indusoft's website, and it is a live demo that they have set up with a couple of examples of Indusoft projects based on different industries. So what you are seeing here is the Indusoft project viewer. And the viewer is the first thing that you define when you create an Indusoft project. And usually it's just going to be the size of whatever screen you intend to use, your HMI or your PC. But you can't choose to scale that resolution. But usually you define a static resolution when you start the project. So Indusoft screens are something I've mentioned a couple different times. But the way Indusoft uses screens is that each that within the viewer there are multiple screens. So this header here, where it says Indusoft Web Studio, and it has the tabs home, and then the language tab with the login and user control tabs over there. That's one screen. And then the middle part is another screen where it has this little animation. And then on the left, our nav bar here, that is another screen. So, and the one at the very bottom is also a screen. So those are separate screens, and they are usually static size, static dimensions, and you just decide where to put them in the viewer when you're creating your project. But let's look at some of the features. Now, these are features that you can add to your HMI or your control GUI, or to your display if you have like a panel PC or just a static display where you want to display data but not have any control options. You can add a lot of different animations, images, and symbols to those. So we have the bar graph and animation here, and so what you would do is you create an object like this rectangle, and then inside the object you would create an animation, which is the bar graph, the moving bar graph, and you would tie that animation to one of your tags. So if you wanted to get temperature from different industrial ovens or water level on a bunch of different tanks and tie it to a bar graph, you would have a tag for that, for the level or for the temperature, and then you you assign a tag to the animation, and the animation changes based on updates from that tag from the data. We also have color changing, which is good for on-off switches, for text, also for showing status of things like pumps and fans. I have data entry field, in case you need to change certain values, like min-max values, that sort of thing. Or if you want to display text. Also, you can have a position and animation for showing switches and knobs, rotation for showing a gauge like this, and then size if you want to change an image based on size. We also have position graphs and hyperlinks, very useful if you want to link out to manuals from inside of your HMI or your GUI. And then commands. Commands are also going to be very useful. So each of those objects, and you can see a couple different types of objects. We have 3D and symbols, which are just like buttons and switches that show up on your HMI. So you would that is where you would define your logic control functions or start-stop commands, or just pretty much anything you can think of. In fact, let's look at some now, actually. We're getting into our industries. This is a basic conveyor belt, and you can see how we have some pretty basic controls, start and stop. What we are also, what are we doing here? We are, in addition to controlling the start and stop function in this example, we're actually looking at production efficiency. So we're comparing the production process to an ideal production rate to get an example, or to get an OEE percentage efficiency rating. Now, you might remember from a couple months ago, I did a talk about OEE, which is overall equipment effectiveness, and Indusoft has some very in-depth OEE program examples. So here you can see we have a different page for each machine, and we're getting live data from each of these machines. So you can look at it overall, or you can look at it on a machine-by-machine basis, and then you can, let's see, if we want to look at efficiency for the current shift, current day, current week, you get the picture. I've got historic data going back quite a ways. And it just has OEE, or efficiency measurements based on the 6 big losses that I talked about in my OEE webinar. And right, that about wraps it up for OEE. One of the great things about this demo is that if you do decide to purchase an Indusoft development license, you get everything in this demo comes with the license, and you can copy paste parts of their code to develop your own projects, or if there's just something in there that you like, you can just copy it and use it. But it's a very helpful tool when you're developing your own projects to have some pretty in-depth examples to be able to copy from. If you like PackML, this is another example of an Indusoft process. So let's go ahead and clear. Excellent. Reset. And then start the process. So if this is how you like to lay out your processes, it's a very good example of how that can be achieved. You have your control center here. All right. Let's actually look at another industry real quick. Like I mentioned before, you can tie animations to the level in a water tank, and this is a good example of a monitoring system. So it's showing instantaneous water level in each of these tanks, as well as showing on-off status for these valves. And it also is monitoring pipeline pressure at any time, instantaneous pipeline pressure. And at the bottom here, we have an alert log, and see we have two alarms set up for when the pipeline pressure is too high and when the pipeline pressure is too low. So it gives you time and date message, which station, where the problem is happening. And then you can go ahead and clear those messages when they're resolved. But this just gives you a good example of when and where things are going wrong, if they're going wrong, as well as giving you instantaneous data from the different tanks. And there's applications for a bunch of different industries. We don't have to go into all of them, but I do think it gives you a good idea of the kind of HMIs, the kind of GUIs you can design, and the kind of projects that you can accomplish with Indusoft. So I highly recommend, if you are interested in this product at all, I sent you the link. You should have it in an email. But it is just demo.indusoft.com, and you can also access it from their homepage. What else? Process. I think that's about it. I'm not going to... let's not spend any more time on this. I think you get the picture. But let's just go back to my presentation. Oh, shoot. Resume slideshow. All right. Demo.indusoft.com. Another great thing about Indusoft is that they have really gone above and beyond to provide comprehensive documentation on all of their products. So if you are interested in how to develop Indusoft projects, they have quite a few tutorials and videos. They have a quick start guide available from their online library that I highly recommend. It's about 2 hours, but it gives you a very good idea of how to create a simple Indusoft project. They also have quite an extensive course on how to use Indusoft, comprehensive to say the least. So if you are interested, I highly recommend you go and check out those resources. Also, an interesting thing for development is that new Indusoft projects can be deployed and run for a short time before requiring you to purchase a runtime license. So if you do have the development environment, you can actually deploy and run them for about 48 hours before you need to purchase the runtime license, just to see if it's going to work the way you think it is. Okay, so now I think you have a pretty good idea of what Indusoft is, how it works, what it looks like. We are going to talk about the features in the latest version, which is Indusoft Web Studio 2020. So just give you a some quick changes. So Indusoft Web Studio 2020 includes an integrated industrial graphics editor that allows you to edit and or import industrial graphics from Aviva products and integrate them with Indusoft Web Studio projects. So Indusoft was fairly recently, purchased by Aviva, and in the new version, you can import graphics from other Aviva projects to use in your Indusoft projects. So that's pretty handy. An updated development environment brings a modern and intuitive interface to Indusoft that increases productivity and adds the ability to customize themes, color, and style in the development environment, so you can make your development environment look how you want it in the way that works best for you. You can also define a bunch of custom keyboard shortcuts to cut down on production time and just make it into the program that works the best for you, the one that you're most comfortable with. Like I talked about with the thin clients before, mobile access thin client improvements include new interface support for trend, start, date and time and duration, eSign, and others, and enhancements in the MQTT driver enable Indusoft Web Studio to publish data according to the MQTT Sparkplug B standard. So a couple quality of life improvements there, in addition to all the thin clients, in addition to the fact that all the thin clients are now HTML5 based. So I think you have a pretty good idea of what's going on with Indusoft. I just wanted to summarize some of the key benefits. Indusoft is a program that saves time. You can view your process from your desk or web-enabled mobile phone using a standard browser. It provides clear information and multi-language support, as you saw in the Indusoft Project demo. We support a lot of different languages, so operators understand immediately and projects can be localized quickly. It saves money, develop once, and deploy on any Microsoft-supported platform, including Windows CE, Mobile, XP Embedded, and Server editions. Indusoft IoT View also supports Linux and VxWorks. So you develop once with the development license in the development environment, and you can deploy it as many times as you need to as many runtime servers, many runtime licenses as you need. It's flexible. Offers support for your PLC or controller, more than 200 drivers. That's around 250 now. OPC, client and server, and TCP IP. Troubleshoot quickly, understand alarms quickly, visually on screen or via email, or any of those PDA mobile phones or web browsers. You can easily tie into ERP and back office systems using built-in relational database connectivity. Reduces downtime by using open technologies to visualize documentation, repair videos, or audio messages. Gives you the information you need for key performance indicators and overall equipment effectiveness. Saw a pretty impressive OEE demo there. And worldwide trust. Since 1997, Indusoft has issued more than 300,000 licenses. So this is a very competent company, very good program that we recommend highly. So before I let you go here, I just wanted to shout out some of our own products. So Indusoft is very scalable, as I discussed, but we usually recommend it for projects requiring over 1,000 tags, 1,500 or so. For smaller projects and projects where price is an issue, we usually recommend our in-house products. And two similar products we have in-house are Easy Data Logger and eLogger. So Easy Data Logger is available in a free version that provides up to 64 IO tags, and there's a paid version that provides up to 1024 IO tags. It works with our Decon Modbus RTU and Modbus TCP IO modules, and it can be deployed on Windows PCs. So this is mainly a data logging application, but it does also provide basic logic control functions and alarm controls. So that's a very basic product. If you have a smaller project or where cost is an issue, if it's a very small project, it does come for free with purchase of any of our compatible IO modules. So that would be our Modbus RTU, Decon, and Modbus TCP IO modules. eLogger is sort of the next step up from Easy Data Logger. It's a small-ish scale SCADA and HMI development program. Provides up to 4,000 tags. Can be deployed on a Windows PC, Embedded Standard, or Compact Edition 7. So eLogger is an easy-to-use software to implement HMI, Web HMI, and Data Logger on PC Windows and ICPDAS packs for simple I/O monitoring and system control. It comes in a free version, up to 30 tags for the PC version, and up to 50 tags for the PAC version. These are programmable automation controllers. and it's just a little bit of a step up from Easy Data Logger, but still lower cost and fewer features than Indusoft. So finally, we have some of our Indusoft native packs, our automation controllers. So the first is a new product. So you see here, on the lower right-hand side is the IWS series. So the IWS pack series is the new generation of Windows Compact Edition 7 based Indusoft pack from ICPDAS. It combines a RISC-based CPU board, TFT LCD touchscreen, and creates a ruggedized flat panel computer, perfect for a variety of control and HMI applications. It provides a variety of connectivities, including gigabit Ethernet, USB port, RS-232, and RS-485. The operating system is pre-installed in the onboard flash memory. Remote I/O expansion is available using our Ethernet I/O modules, RS-485 I/O modules, Wi-Fi, and Zigbee wireless I/O modules. Designed for a panel mount installation, the front panel is NEMA 4/IP65 rated and can withstand sprayed water, humidity, and extreme dust. Just a pretty rugged industrial panel PC and HMI with some of our remote I/O modules. You can create a pretty robust data acquisition and control system with that. We also have, I talk about these a lot in our webinars, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but just know that of our WinPack series, we have WinPacks and ViewPacks. So the WinPacks are our rack mount programmable automation controllers like the one you see on the left. We also have DIN mount ones like you see here. And these do come with in versions that have Indusoft Runtime pre-installed in 300 and 1500 tag versions. We also have view packs, which are similar hardware, almost identical hardware, but with a touchscreen controller along with a small keypad. But like I said, I talk about those a lot, so I'm not going to go into any more detail, but if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them now. Now we are getting into our Q&A session. If you think of any later, our contact information is on the screen. Please email us at sales@icpdasusa.com. Give us a follow on LinkedIn and YouTube are probably where we are most active, actually. LinkedIn for updates and links to our webinars, lunch and learns, and white papers, all the good stuff that we're coming out with. On YouTube, we have a pretty extensive library, I'd say very extensive library, of how-tos and product videos and our past webinars. So if there's anything you missed, you can find it there. But now let's get into our Q&A session.